Hi everyone, and welcome to week 4. We're halfway through the session. 3 down, 3 left to go. Congratulations to all of you. One of the things that we talked about in our discussion last week, and some of you wrote about in your paper, was mandatory overtime for nurses. Massachusetts does have a healthcare bill that bans mandatory overtime for nurses. The law prohibits hospitals from requiring nurses to work mandatory overtime. That's defined as any hours beyond the predetermined and regularly scheduled number of hours that the hospital and nurse have agreed that the employee will work. An exception is provided for emergency situations. This is what is kind of hard to define. I did look it up a little bit further, and I found on this PDF, which was published by the ANA for Massachusetts, an emergency situation for the purposes of allowing mandatory overtime means an unforeseen event that could not be prudently planned for or anticipated by a hospital and affects patient safety. For example, government declaration of emergency or catastrophic hospital emergency. An emergency situation is not that the hospital had not planned for an employee for that shift. This law also includes an anti-retaliation measure which prohibits hospitals from discriminating against or terminating nurses who refuse to accept a worked assignment in excess of the specified limitations. Although the law does not provide specific penalties for mandating overtime, hospitals are required to report all instances of mandatory overtime to the Department of Public Health. We'll see on the next slide that overtime is over 16 hours. So if you work 7 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., your hospital is reporting every time that happens to the Department of Public Health. The law also sets maximum shift lengths for nurses. Hospitals are prohibited from regularly scheduling a nurse to work more than 12 hours in a 24-hour period. Hospitals are further prohibited from permitting a nurse to work more than 16 consecutive hours in a 24-hour period. There's that 1/2 hour. So if you're working 7A to 11P, you need to be out by 11P. And if you do work 16 consecutive hours, the hospital must provide the nurse with at least 8 hours of consecutive off-duty time. Week 4 talks about our special interest groups. There are tons of them. When you talk about medicine and nursing and healthcare, our special interest groups include American Nurses Association, American Medical Association, the AARP, American Hospitals Association, the National Nurses Union, which also would include any of our state unions, or our ANA Massachusetts, which is part of our American Nurses Association, Planned Parenthood, American Insurance Association, AACN, and the NAACP. The definition of these special interest groups are a group of people or an organization seeking or receiving special advantages, typically through political lobbying. What do you think? Has money and influence affected the Affordable Care Act? What are your thoughts? I guess before you think about this, or before you formulate an answer, take a look at this link that I've included. Have a very good week, and I will see all of you online. Please feel free to email me, contact me anytime with any questions. Thanks. Bye-bye.